Sup. The opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and Future Bachelor only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity. This fun podcast may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor Podcast.
I never let you go. Yeah. Welcome to Future Bachelor. My name is Sai.
I'm Veronica.
And this is episode 139.
Hey.
Whoa, started off with some boyfriend vibes. What you think about that, V?
I love that song. I know. We both know all the words to that song. And it's funny. I remember everyone laughed when it came out with the whole fondue rhyme because we're like, really? But it's a classic. I
love that song. And it's just if I was your boyfriend, I'd never let you go. It's just the most realist, line there ever was written. And I feel like never mind. But you know that song was written by Mike Posner?
I feel like I knew that. I feel like you've probably told me that.
Well, now we're letting our listeners know. The more you know. Okay.
Cue the rainbow.
Anyways, V, what are you doing? What you been up to? How's it going?
I had a little girls' wine night last week, which was a lot of fun. We always say that we're going to watch a movie, but it literally never happens. And instead we usually watch music videos or dance videos and then fully try to do some of the dances. It's a thing.
Sounds fun.
And eat cheese. And then you and Andy came over to my place to check out the condo.
Yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah, and you got me a plant.
Oh, what?
My little goddess plant.
Oh, yeah, that's cute. Yeah, no, it looks good on your table there. I just it spoke to me when I saw it. I was like, that was the one. I got to get this for V's new place. So
it's perfect. It for sure goes to the vibe, and it's very much so me, and Rachel loves it too, and that's always good.
Awesome.
And then we got into some shenanigans this weekend, and yeah.
I love how you sum up shenanigans so much. There's so much more that we did, but I mean, I don't know. Let's just keep it as shenanigans.
I know, because you put nothing. You did nothing. So that's why I just said shenanigans. I was like, let's just keep it flat.
If there's something to tell you, I will. Anyways, yeah, I put down nothing because I was with you the whole time, and I figure, you'd say it better than I could. But I don't know, V. What are you watching these days?
Well, it's funny that you played Boyfriend as the song, because I've been in my teen romance feels, or even young adult romance feels for what I've been watching. I just have really just leaned into the cheesy sort of holiday related rom-com beginnings of the season because I love them, and I'm excited for the one with Vanessa Hudgens coming out, where she has a third forgotten twin, so a triplet, whatever, but
oh my God.
That's not out yet, so I haven't watched it yet, but when it comes out, I will.
Okay.
But I watched Holidate, which stars Emma Roberts and some hot Australian dude who I don't know his name.
Does it matter?
It doesn't. It was a lot of fun, and it's not just a Christmas thing. It starts at Christmas, but they're each other's holiday. So for every holiday, they just have a no strings attached. They just have somebody a +1 to bring around, and there's supposed to be no hooking up, no anything, and then shenanigans ensue.
Shenanigans, dude! Oh my God, there's always some shenanigans going on.
But it's good. Definitely recommend. It's fun and cheesy, and it had me feeling some kind of way. And then I
love those movies that make us feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? It just makes you want to cry, and you're
it makes you just
feel hopeful.
Warm.
You're hopeful for things, But it's not like that. Life is not like a movie.
And then I watched Dash and Lily, which is a mini series that Nick Jonas actually is an executive producer on, and then the Jonas Brothers do guest star in an episode of the mini series. And it's about two teens and their journey to like love to each other. It's cheesy, but it's smart, and it's set in New York City, and there's like a scavenger hunt, and they go to McSorley's, and it's just a whole thing, and I love it. And I literally was like live texting my friend Allison, and we're both like, damn it, these teen rom-coms are getting us good. Like we were just
You were really reaching to watch something this weekend, huh?
Yeah, really. I was like, I kind of like got teary in all of them, and I'm like, what's going on?
Jeez.
And I don't know. It's cuffing season, and it's kind of hard to be cuffed right now if you weren't already cuffed. So
I feel you. Cuff. Well, I've been watching a bunch of new things actually. Speaking of new movies. New Mutants. I actually watched it. It's like the last like X-Men movie from the franchise coming out of Fox World before it was acquired by Disney and all that stuff. So yeah, it was actually pretty good. It was like a little horror movie. I would have loved it. I hope they bring the New Mutants into the new Marvel stuff because it was like pretty dope. And then last week we talked about The Craft, or the week before that, I actually watched the sequel, Craft Legacy, and it does connect to the old movie. I don't want to spoil it because it's in the last couple minutes of the movie, but it's pretty exciting. But I mean, they did a pretty good job, but it didn't beat the original Craft, which was really good. So and then finally I remembered another thing I started watching. Have you heard of 90 Days In?
No.
It's like where somebody like gets put into like a prison, and for 90 days they have to like try to find like where the drugs are coming from, or stuff about the gangs, or like how the police are treating their all the people that are in there.
This sounds intense. Is this like it's what
on
is
Netflix.
like what is the format?
Like the fifth season,
I don't get
just
it.
like essentially like these people that used to be like ex-prisoners, or they could be cops, or just people that have been around gangs or drugs. They go in for like 90 days and have to like be in the population of like the prison and find out all these different things. It's pretty interesting. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
So it's like real people. It's like kind of like a docu
it's
sort
like,
of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting. Like I mean, you have to watch it I can't really explain it because it's like it almost seems like a game, but it's not.
What is
a
it
game.
on?
Well, the fifth. There's like one season that dropped on Netflix, and that's where I started watching it. So it's the fifth season. I think that's on there. But yeah, that's what have we been watching. But I guess we might as well catch a trip to quick hits. What do we got for some quick hits, V?
All right, so our first trip that we're taking is, into the future in February to Tampa Bay, Florida.
Yeah.
To the Super Bowl. And they announced that The Weeknd, who isn't actually American, he's from Canada, will be the halftime show, the artist, which, it's definitely a very like R&B vibe. Which I feel like is like the NFL's way of being like, we care about black people. But also I'm just interested to see what this like set list is going to look like, because like his music is sexual. So who's to say?
I think it's going to be a pop-in halftime show. He can bring out like some guests, Who else can he bring out? He can bring out
I mean, if he was smart, he'd bring out Ariana Grande. They have some songs together.
And Future.
Future, you could bring out. Who else could he bring out?
I can't feel my face when I'm with you. That's gonna be so hot.
And I love it. Yeah, that's a great one. So that will be there. Starboy. I feel like he's gonna pull from more of his like poppier ones, not as much of like his like I'm in
his sex bag.
Yeah,
I feel you. What else we got?
Speaking of music, two of my favorite female artists are dropping new records. Miley Cyrus will be coming out with Plastic Hearts on October 27th. A nice little, post-Thanksgiving gift to us all. And it includes some features of Dua Lipa, which that single drops if you're listening to this on Thursday. That single will drop, I believe, Thursday night or Friday.
That's so good.
And then also she has Billy Idol featured and Joan Jett, which those are biggies. That totally plays into how she's trying to do more of a retro vibe. So I think that will be super cool to listen to.
Hell yeah.
And then my girl Megan Thee Stallion is having her debut album, because she's done mostly, I guess, what you would call like mixtapes or like anything like that with all of her other releases. This is her
singles.
debut. Yeah, this is her debut actual album. And that will be coming out. Why can't I read? It comes out.
It's called Good News.
Yes, it's called Good News. Now I don't even know when it comes out, what day. But
I thought it already came out, but
not yet. It hasn't come out yet. I mean, some of it has come out. It'll have DaBaby on it, City Girls, who I love, Lil Durk, SZA, who's my bitch, and then Big Sean and 2 Chainz, and she'll have her Savage remix on there, and as well as Don't Stop, which is already topping the charts. So should be a good one. Looks like a pretty hearty album from her.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I liked all the imagery she put online for it, with the newspapers, good
with
news.
all the news.
And I think we could all, it comes out November 20th, by the way.
Thank you.
Yep.
I couldn't find that for some reason.
It's all good. I was scanning their Instagram. For some reason, I was already there. I don't know. That's weird. Anyways, what else we got, V?
More in music news. So Phoebe Bridgers, some of our, indie folk kind of queens, Phoebe Bridgers had tweeted that if Joe Biden had won the election, she'd do a cover of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And so she recruited her, her famous friend and other indie queen, Maggie Rogers, and they did a great cover of it. And so even the Goo Goo Dolls had tweeted back being like, "We're waiting. Where's the cover?" before they released it.
Oh, wow.
And so definitely it was a cool listen. The proceeds to it went to the Fair Fight, which is actually a voting rights and advocacy group started by Stacey Abrams here in Atlanta, Georgia. So, man, it starts here in Georgia, comes all the way back around. Pretty cool stuff.
Iris by Goo Goo Dolls is one of the most beautiful choruses ever written, I feel like. So I got to listen to that. I didn't know. Is that out already?
Yeah, so they had it on Bandcamp. I don't know if they've released it on other streaming platforms, but I'm sure you could find either a video or stuff of it somewhere, because I feel like I forget how I listened to it, but I feel like I've seen it. It was passed around the internet, so you might have to. I don't know if it's up on all streaming services just yet, but you can find it.
What else we got?
All right, it was the People's Choice Awards, which both of us at this point, me and you, Sai, I feel like we don't really watch a lot of award shows anymore.
Nah.
Nor do I really even. I feel like people barely tweet about them anymore. The biggest thing that came out of this was that Demi Lovato was the host, and she looked fab. She did a bajillion costume changes. She had some of the best wigs I've ever seen in my life. And she fully called herself out on how she she's like, I did the quarantine thing that everyone does. Finds a boyfriend, quarantines with said boyfriend, gets engaged with the boyfriend, and then gets unengaged. Just the typical quarantine life. And I was like, at least she knows. She's self-aware that it was crazy town.
Yeah.
What was happening.
It was crazy town.
But so that's all I really know about it. It looks like for songs, Song of the Year, BTS still reigns supreme when it comes to some of this song stuff, because their base is just insane. K-pop is coming with a vengeance to America. But yeah, it looks like, the typical People's Choice things that fans would vote for won. But
that's what's up. I think when it comes to award shows, it's you just figure the most popular person's gonna win, right? It's just kind of like that.
Well, exactly. Well, especially if it comes when it's People's Choice, so it's fan voted. Obviously, that's gonna be who the fans like.
Dope. What else we got?
All right. So actually, this is funny because my mother broke this news to me before I even knew it. Mm-hmm. Was that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is doing a reunion that actually drops as we're recording this. I believe it's dropping tonight. It was supposed to drop when this podcast drops on Thursday, but I think it's dropping tonight. Yes. tonight.
Yeah, I actually already knew about it because I'm a huge Bel Air fan.
Me too.
So Fresh Prince is like one of my, people I looked up to like growing up. That's where I get a lot of my style and fashion and love for all those colors and everything. So this is really cool because they're bringing like both the moms, both Vivians together for the first time.
Oh yeah.
They're going to talk about James Avery, who was Uncle Phil on the show. And then it's just really cool to see because I always loved the comedic duo of, Will Smith and Alfonso Rivera, aka Carlton, because they were just like so funny together. Like he was always making fun of his height and stuff, and it was just funny. And then also the fact that DJ Jazzy Jeff was in the show and he acted, and he was like never supposed to be an actor, which he was actually really funny. So I'm excited to see it. Definitely check it out. Probably after this show in the next 24 hours for sure.
Yeah, because it's on HBO Max, so one of the bajillions of streaming services that's out there these days.
Yeah. Well, speaking as one sexy man, what do we got coming up next?
So, the man's. This is honestly, I don't know how he hasn't been it sooner. Michael B. Jordan is this year's People's Sexiest Man Alive, and I mean, I'm just proud of their decision. Yes, round of applause.
That's dope. Well, yeah. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Yummy.
Oh.
It makes me feel great. It makes me
You
feel.
said yummy first. What the hell?
I'm just looking at his face. I'm just like, and it's funny because like I posted it to my story, and people are like, "Yeah, I was gonna share this with you, but I figured you already knew." It's like, yeah.
You know what's funny about like what you just said about it's just like I'm just looking at his face, but like I wonder like one day like I have this face right now, and what if I become famous as shit? And then people are like talking about my face like that. It's like, dude, I've had the same face forever. Like now my face is sexy and you're saying yummy. You had your chance. Anyways, what else we got?
He's so hot. Well, and also as part of the Sexiest Man Alive issue, they do kind of like other categories and stuff, or other like runner-ups and things like that. And Dan Levy was one of them, actually. And he had like a really fun shoot for it. He's like wearing a lot of fun stuff. So I love to see that. Let's see what's next. What's next on here? So Twitter is like 500 years late to the game. Remember when everything was getting stories, and even we made fun of LinkedIn like a couple weeks ago for just getting stories,
right?
Because we're like, what are you doing? But Twitter decided that they're like, you know what? Now's our time to jump on this. Like no one asked for this, Twitter. Nobody wanted this. So they have their version of stories called fleets.
Yeah. Is that like something like tweets and flying, like fleets?
Like a fleet, but like a fleet is like a fleet of ships is like what I think of. So like I don't know,
man.
I guess
they're pretty clever.
It's fleeting.
Well,
because
no,
it's only around
like
for
a lot of them.
hours.
If you see them together, it's like a fleet of like stories, like
Yeah, and because it's fleeting, I guess, because it's gonna
Oh
go.
my God, it's actually the most genius name for it. But anyways, it's just one of those things where it's like it probably won't do great, but they'll get enough people to like stay on the app using it to take away from Instagram users. Like even if it's like a slight bit, they have to do everything. Also with the fact that like Instagram this past week, for the last couple months actually, have been tweaking the shit out of it. Every other week, my app is different.
The shopping tab is more prominent. Like it's almost like you have to like go to your page, like press the little plus button to like do a post, and then you have to choose like what it's like. They definitely have made it like more counterintuitive, and I'm like, Instagram.
Well, they're trying to make it like Amazon. They're trying to make it like TikTok. They're trying to make it like Snapchat, and it's Facebook. So it's like, I don't know, man. They're just trying too much stuff. It's one of those things where like, I don't know, like they've really tried to push the shopping or like the marketplace, like Facebook always like puts it in a really prominent place where it's like, we're not going to use it just because you put it like front and center. Like, you know, it took me forever to even get the new app for Messenger for, you know, Facebook. I was like not checking. I didn't check my messages in there for like years just because I didn't want to get the app or the other app for it. So,
well, yeah. And well, now like Messenger, like it's connected. Like you can like reply and send messages from Instagram and from like Facebook Messenger. It's like all one thing now. Like they all connect.
That's
like,
dumb. I don't want to do that.
No.
You know, and also it's just like, you know, the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They don't care about that. Like it's not broke. They just keep trying to fix it. But we're on there.
Facebook's thing is like move fast and break things. That's like their saying.
Well,
so they're all about breaking shit.
I'm online, that's for sure. My screen time be saying that. So
yeah, my screen time yells at me every goddamn day. That's for sure.
We got any other quick hits before we move on?
Yeah, so this quick hit will actually, you'll see, it'll take us into our yikes. But Harry Styles is the first man to be solo on a Vogue cover. Usually any other men who have been on the cover have, you know, accompanied a woman, as Vogue is typically known as being a women's fashion magazine. But I mean, that's now it's just a fashion magazine. But he was, you know, first solo man to hold that spot. And he's wearing a dress, and the whole spread of him has him in a lot of gender non-conforming outfits, skirts, dresses, just different stereotypically feminine pieces, which was awesome, and also very on brand for Harry Styles. He's been known to, you know, gender bend in his clothing, and that. But
what made you go yikes? Will you set me up?
Yeah.
Okay, I almost didn't catch it. I was like,
yikes! Oh my god.
I got it. But what?
Well, is people's responses to that. So Candace Owens, known conservative commentator and author and just general nuisance of the internet, she, you know, took to Twitter to say how, like, no society can survive without strong men. The East knows this. The East being like, we're westernized society over here in the Americas and things like that. And then the East, you know, is across the pond / further. But
I've never been good at geometry. I'm sorry.
Stupid. In the West, the steady feminization of men at the same time that Marxism is being taught, this is where it took a turn, to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back our manly men. With this is all a reply quote, like a quote tweet for the Vogue tweet being like, blah, 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 like, let's celebrate our cover man, like Harry Styles. And Ben Shapiro also said different things about, like, you know, how it's the destruction of masculinity, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, I think, you know, I have an issue. I went yikes to them just being so close-minded. And also, like, Candace Owens fully has a photo of her in, like, a men's style suit on her Instagram. And, like, everybody came for her ass and was like, oh, we hate to see, like, the masculinization of our women. Like, where are womanly women? Like, all this shit on her stuff because they're like, get out of here. But it definitely is also interesting to see how everyone's, like, going crazy, acting like they've never seen, like, first of all, Harry Styles has fully worn dresses, skirts, and things, like, in plenty of other occasions. Also, like, for his, I think, SNL shoot, he was in, like, a ballerina tutu and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, there's, like, kilts and stuff like that. Like, it's not, like, you know, I don't see Harry Styles, like, just going down the street, like, wearing a dress or a skirt. It's, like, a high fashion magazine, and, like, you know, I would totally do it, too, like, if I was on, you know, the cover of one of those magazines. So, I mean, not saying it's bad if you do wear walking down the street, but it's, like, come on, dude. Like, it's, like, freaking art. Like, it's a photography shoot. Like, it's supposed to be, like, done up. Like, what are what do you want from it? I thought it was pretty dope, actually. So
Yeah, and also like it's funny to think about that like people are like holding Harry on this pedestal right now when there's been people like David Bowie, Prince, I mean even more recent examples, Billy Porter, Young Thug did a cover where he's in a full like ball gown, like all these different people who like fully have like worn these kinds of garments and stuff, and it's like this is part of expression, and like no thing is like inherently gendered. And like this is 2020. Like,
right.
what are we doing?
Well, yikes. Well, why don't we get into what we like to talk around here? It's called The Bachelorette, and this week was kind of crazy. There was a lot of cringe moments for me. I was just sitting there, you know, watching the show and like, damn, I couldn't believe what I was watching. But V, you know, why don't you talk about it from, you know, where we start in the show, and we'll go from there.
So this episode pretty much starts with them going into their first group date of the week, which is the grown ass man group date, which is hosted by Ashley I and Jared. You know,
yeah,
everyone.
Ashley came out hot, didn't she? She was like, "Hey," I was like, "Oh my god, take it down a notch, girl."
Well, and I think
they've
it's
been
funny
at this hotel,
because,
you know, for
like let's simmer, like simmer down. Like, so I think it's funny because Tayshia says, like, I brought some friends to help lead this date or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think they're friends. Like, I don't think they've really ever interacted. But people think that they, like, or I think Ashley maybe have posted somewhere about how her and Jared didn't know about the changing of the bachelorettes and had always planned to, like, you know, quarantine and be there for that date idea per se. And that they knew, they knew Claire from Winter Games and stuff like that, and from, you know, I think a couple of the seasons of Bachelor in Paradise. And so I think that's why I was kind of like, oh, this seems a little weird. So they might have originally been there to lead that date for Claire, which would be an interesting twist if that is true.
right.
But you know, in general, they just do a bunch of stuff that's supposed to prove like who's a grown man versus who's a man child. And it includes Bennett making a fool of himself in his Harvard degree because like he spells limousine wrong. And does math
when I was watching
wrong.
this, it's like this. He has like he doesn't know how he comes off, but like or he thinks he knows how he comes off. But I would have totally played into like getting the wrong answers, just played it up. Like, you know, like I would have tried to be like funny about it, you know, be like, oops, like, you know, Mr. Harvard, like, you know, I think that would have been way funnier if he was like getting him wrong, like on purpose type thing, like, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, I think because he leans into his own bit of being like, you know, the Harvard guy and like the private school guy. He
like yelled at Ashley. He was like, well, that was like a
He's like, I
poorly
think
worded.
this question isn't well written. Like, it isn't like well read, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's your own opinion.
No, Jared said that. That was so funny.
Yeah.
He was like, I think that's opinion based or something like that. Yeah, that was hilarious. But
and he even like bows out of like the more physical portion because like there's different portions of the date. One of them's like, you know, a tug of war thing, and he bows out because of an old like football knee injury, which sounds like some bullshit if I've ever heard it.
Dude, but I actually feel like good for these guys for like, you know, standing up for themselves and being like, you know, I'm not the one that gets in here oiled up like wanting to wrestle people. Like it's just not for me. Like, you know, and I honestly it sucks because like if Tayshia's like really like you're not gonna fight for me or you're not gonna like get your ass kicked for me, like that just is weird in general, but there's nothing you can do about it. But like, I honestly, I don't know. It takes a lot of balls to say you're not going to do something like, you know.
Well, we're not even there yet because like some of the stuff that brews before they can even get to the wrestling ring comes from this grown ass date where Ed loses. He's the man child, and like they kept calling him chicken legs and stuff. Like Bennett, especially, like it became like a whole.
This is the
thing.
only moment that I liked Ed because like he like took the baby with grace, and he was like I liked his attitude about it because I feel like if that was my challenge, I probably would have gotten the baby too. And I would have just been like, you know, owned it, been like, you know, okay, I'm just going to treat it like, you know, I won a trophy. Like, thanks. Because that's one you have to have a good attitude about.
And this is like begins like some of this Chasen versus Ed stuff, because like Chasen like goes after Ed for being childish. Like Ed goes after Chasen for being just kind of an idiot and like full of himself and whatever. Because like Chasen like, you know, did the whole like I'm the main course like on the breakfast in bed thing, and just like it seems like a very bizarre beef that happened between them. And then they just randomly, this episode really like kind of hops all over the place. They go into like the rose ceremony. So I don't know if it's like I
thought it ended like 3 times. I was like, what's going on here? Oh, there's more show. Okay.
Yeah, literally. I was like, oh, I kept like checking my watch. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, is this wine hitting this hard that I don't know how much time is hitting? I don't think so. But, you know, they do the rose ceremony. I think the only people that really gets, like, sent home are, like, some of the newer guys and just, like, some of the dudes that she just, like, really hasn't talked to much. So it seemed pretty uneventful. It brought more of just, like, the whole
it kept chasing around. So that was
kept
kind of
chasing around after Ed brought up all the drama with him to Tayshia being like, blah, 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 like, Chasen, I don't think is really here for you. He's saying the same stuff about you that he said about Claire. I think he still has feelings for Claire. And like, of course, like that's Tayshia's biggest fear. But we move along to the wrestling date, which, as you said, I feel like I don't really know if any of us really asked for this. Like nobody really wants this such a violent date. Like I don't. And, like, the squirting of the oil, like...
The brushing of the oil, like, were you using the same brush, like, for every guy?
I'm like, are we just basting these guys? Like, it's like, this feels very Thanksgiving turkey-ish. I'm like,
it's like grown people are doing this. Like, even, like, imagine, like, I wonder what would happen if, like, you gave kids, like, oil and a brush. Would they do the same ridiculous things, like, as adults are doing with this stuff? Like... They'd probably like start painting the floor or something like that, which makes I don't know. It just seems like ridiculous to me that like one girl is like lathering up all these guys around and stuff, but whatever, it's the show. They're running out of ideas for this hotel.
But it comes down to that there's, you know, of course the producers are evil in their evil ways, and they had teamed Chasen versus Ed for their wrestling match, and Ed takes it upon himself. Was it Ed? Yes. Ed said, you know, I'm not even gonna go there.
It was
I'm
so
not
embarrassing.
Even gonna. Like he's just like, you know, I'm not even gonna do it because
But before this, though, I kind of want to talk about, before we get too deep into this, I want to talk about like was it the cocktail party after, or which one is the one where Bennett was still wearing the robe? And he goes.
That was the one after the grown-ass man date. Yeah.
So he like tries to like pull Tayshia first, like at night. And, and then Chasen pulls her, and I think that's where like it really ignited the Chasen like beef, because he like already tried to pull her away, and then she like Tayshia makes it very awkward. Like she could easily go and have a conversation with someone, but like she definitely makes it awkward for people. She's like, well, I kind of want to say hello to everyone and cheers, and that's when Chasen comes and takes her away first, and he's like, oh, like you're just gonna make me look like an idiot, like, you know. So that's where I think it all starts. So then they pin like Chasen and Ed against each other. This looks like, you know, a good fight, because, you know, Ed's got like muscles, but they're calling him what, like
chicken legs.
No, but they're like fake muscles. They were not calling fake muscles, but like vanity muscles or something like that. They were calling them. And essentially what that means is like they just look, you just look like you're muscular, but you're not gonna fight, like, you know. So you know, he was all ready, and it was funny seeing Chasen, like, you know, he was like being all cool and stuff, like, but he was gonna beat the crap out of him, like, you know, what the second.
No, Chasen is definitely the type. Like, Chasen is the type. He's like toxic masculinity for sure. He's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I'm this? And this is like after, like, you know, like
they call him the Wolverine.
Yeah, They call him the Wolverine, and this is just like after like, Ed and Bennett have both been kind of poking Chasen because like Bennett's whole thing with Chasen is that Chasen's immature and like is just, not classy and whatever, and doesn't know other words to describe Tasha than the words that he used against Claire, which is like how Ed starts his whole fight with Chasen. I'm like, it comes down to like, it's stupid shit. Like, it's dumb. It's like, why are they even like stirring? Like, it's just like, stay in your lane. Like, stay like in your own business. Like, why does it, you know what? Like, Tasha will see if like he really is like not like falling for her or not like into her and stuff. Like, I feel like these dudes are just so like,
I know, like,
up.
honestly, if you like let some guys like, they'll put their foot in their mouth and mess it up for themselves before like you even have to. Like, so why even put your effort into like downing another person on the show? But it tends to happen. It's just insecurities run wild and you just can't control yourself.
Chasen doesn't have anybody to fight.
Yeah.
So the other guys who weren't technically on this date are sitting in the audience because what else do they have to do?
Yeah,
on this,
they did that. They're doing that a lot this season where like they bring the other guys to watch the other guys if they're doing another date.
And so Noah, mustache guy, volunteers as tribute to wrestle. He loses. Chasen ends up getting the champion
That was
belt.
a bold move though. Like Mustache Man jumped I thought about like I feel like I would have to jump in. I would do that, but I don't know if I could climb that fence like he did. And then also, like, he just did it so fast, like an X-Man. Like, he was like, does anyone want to fight for Thais? He was like, he got up like that fence and jumped right in.
Oh, do it!
So as much as I feel like I would do that, like 3 people could probably beat me to it, like before I started coming up with the idea. Be like, I put my hand on the fence and like 3 people already like jumped over the fence, just like great idea. So anyways,
he weasels his way into the cocktail party, like,
I think that was just G. I thought that was G.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, the other guys are pissed because they already have it out for Noah from, like, last week. They just think that he's young and he's, like, just, he's goofy. He's immature and he's just playing games. That's, I feel like, any of the OG guys that were on Claire's season, because not all of them, some of them that are left are older. They're kind of like coming after some of these younger ones that came on for Tasha's season just because they're younger and they're all like, they don't even know. They're an idiot. Look at him with a stupid mustache. Right. But he comes on and he ends up, I think he gets the group date rose. So, and she finesses him off of that. Like, she gets that mustache off of his face.
I mean, you can do anything. Okay. Ask them to do anything. That's kind of messed up though. Like, I don't know. Like, would you tell like a girl to like shave something off her face or do something like opposite way? Like, you would look amazing if you just like, took your bangs off.
I mean, she framed it as more of a like, I would like to see you without it. And I think she knows the power she holds, like, on this show, that she could be all like, well, why don't you let me shave it? But, like, I mean, if a man ever told me, like, when my hair was shorter, if a man ever told me that they were like, well, why don't you just grow your hair out? Like, I don't like it short.
Or what if a man just told you to shave your mustache?
I mean, bro, I'm trying out here. It's a hard time being Italian and Cuban.
I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying a guy told a girl.
It's hard. I hesitate to it every couple
I didn't mean to call you out. Like, I was just saying, like, you as a girl, like, But I don't know. I just think it's funny. Double standards. I mean, they're getting so minute, like down to those type of things these days, where it's like you can't ask a person to shave their mustache.
Well, yeah, I mean, like if she like was like you can't, if she had like been like you can't stay if you keep this mustache, then yeah, I would have an issue. But she was like, but what if you did it? It was more of like it was definitely her way of flirting, which was stupid. But like,
which was stupid.
He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. He's like, I get to make out with her anyway. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like actually she does have a right if like she's kissing that thing, like she doesn't want to like touch it. She's like, I just prefer if it was just a little cleaner entry. But like then he shaved it he shaved it, and like I was like, damn, like I just know I have to like wash my face and do all this shit before like I would even feel fresh. Like there would be hair all over my face, and they're like licking each other's face. I was just like, oh man, like I need a good like 5 minutes after I shave, like to wash the hair away.
To get it all together.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he looks better without the mustache. I feel like the mustache made him look like a little bit like trailer trash, but that's me.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, cool. He pisses some people off on the date. The guys are getting in fights on the date and stuff like that as well. So,
the preview looks like she's about to like in the next couple of weeks lay down the law because I think she's sick of these dudes just like stirring dumb drama. She's like, so it looks like she's about to have like a come to Jesus moment with them either next week or the week after. It looks like
she still likes that dude she went out on a date with last week. So.
Which one? Ben? Not Ben. Brendan, the one that she rode the horses with.
Yeah.
You think he's douchey?
No. She still likes him. I said the dude from last week.
Spencer?
No,
dude. Which dude from last week?
The one she went on a date with. Like she went on a date with only one guy, didn't she?
It was Brendan, the one that they rode horses with.
Yeah, so like I was saying
he's douchey?
No, you misheard me. I'm not saying he's douchey. I said she still likes him. She like is into him and stuff. Speaking of Spencer, he wasn't shown that much in this episode, so that's why I was bringing up the other guy because. But
whenever the camera went on him, I just saw how beautiful his eyes were, and I'm like,
dude, he looks creepy to me. Like just like everything about him is creepy. So.
He's almost like a little too groomed. You know what I mean?
He's just like his eyes are always just like this, like bug-eyed. Like he just.
I don't think they're bug-eyed. Actually, they seem kind of squinty most of the time. They're just really blue.
No, he's creepy looking. But anyways, next week I think.
You just always hate on the hottie. You hated on Dale too.
He's not the hottie. He's probably not gonna make it that far. There's other people I see that are actually like maybe. I mean, I wouldn't say as good looking as him, but like that. Are having more of a chance with Taisha than I would have thought. Like Claire just went for the hottie.
Who do you think Tayshia's front runners are?
I mean, like I said, the one horse dude, he's definitely like the front runner. I feel like, and then the other. I liked
Ben this episode too, except she was upset that he didn't ask her to talk.
Yeah, I don't think Ben is a front runner right now. He's just. Like you could tell, like they made fun of him like for a good like 10 minutes on this episode straight, because he's full of himself. He's overthinking it. Like he's not even being cool. Like he's just talking about every move. It's like just do your moves. But yeah, I really think like she called him. What's the one dude? The dark horse. Like that guy is up there too. He got a rose. So,
was it Noah or was it? She gave a rose to.
What was that other like mixed kid? I forgot what his name is.
Oh, Ivan.
Yeah. So I think he's doing good too. And then still that older guy, the 36-year-old.
Zach C or G, I forget. But yeah.
So those are my guys right now. They just seem genuine.
It's a lot of front runners to have, honestly.
And those are not like they're all I guess good looking, but I wouldn't say like they're the best looking ones out of like the guys. Ironically.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, yeah, I think it's very interesting. Chef John sent me a text yesterday, at the beginning of the episode. Like, he's like, what's going on with all this show? Like, I just don't understand the format at this point. He's like, give me a quick.
Me neither. I felt like yesterday's episode literally made no sense to me.
Right. So that was funny. But I think it's going to be a good rest of the season. I mean, she's doing pretty good. She's controlling like command, I feel,
as I said last week, she's the bachelorette for the people. So
bachelorette for the people. Okay, cool. Well, why don't we get into our slapper of the week? Or is there anything else with bachelor news that we need to talk about?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, our slapper of the week, I saw it kind of going a little viral. Your girl Demi Lovato was singing it. There was a couple other girls singing it.
On TikTok and stuff.
Yeah, so and I'm just a big fan of her. I don't know why. Her music, not like her specifically.
We love her stuff. We love her stuff here at the Future Bachelor podcast.
Exactly.
Oh my God, Ronnie. White J's, white Porsche, white.
You know how it goes. But yeah, that artist, Bhad Bad Baby. We're agreeing that's how it's said, right?
Yeah, it's Bhad Baby.
Okay, Bad Baby. I don't know why she has to spell it like that, but she does. Bad Baby, also known as Catch Me Outside Girl from Dr. Phil, ironically. Here's her new single, Do It Like Me, our slapper of the week. Without further ado, let's go.
Slapper of the week.
This song slaps.
Slapper of the week, Do It Like Me, Bad Baby. That sample in there comes from Quad City DJs. Come on, ride the train, choo choo, ride it.
Yeah, it gives it such a good retro vibe.
You know, and I think that's a good weekend song right there. It gets me hyped. So check it out. I
know. I'd rather crush some beers or seltzers to that than to some of the stuff that you like to try
Shania
to
Twain or Sarah McLachlan. What? Talking shit.
Yeah. Sorry.
Why I oughta 80I. Okay. Why 80I to say I love you. Okay. You got any shout outs, V?
I wanted to shout out my girl Catherine for her birthday.
Okay,
one of my
what up,
other Scorpios. Yeah. And then I wanted to shout out my friend Katie, who just went under contract for a nice little townhouse here in Atlanta.
Nice. Congrats. Well, I would, one of those weeks where I don't got nobody to shout out except for my mom's dog, Stotty. Yeah! Happy birthday, Stotty. 2 years.
Happy birthday, Stotty. I saw that pop up on my Facebook. I'm Facebook friends with Stotty.
Why do you laughing so hard? Anyways, that's been our show.
Friends with a dog.
That's been our show. What do we got going on this weekend? What do we got going on?
We got Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving. Oh man. Oh, that's so nice. I love Friendsgiving. What was I gonna say? Thanks for letting me make the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I hope they're good. If they don't stand up to how good mine are gonna be.
Are you like known for your mash or?
Yes, I am.
Really? Oh, now I feel like an asshole.
Yeah, I had already claimed it literally like with the girls and with other people like 2 weeks ago.
Well, why did you say that?
I did say that.
I can make something else if you want to do the mash.
It's too late now. I'm making fucking Brussels sprouts and you're gonna like them.
Aww. What if we make 2 different versions and see who likes them better?
There'd be so much mashed potatoes.
I love mash. Anyways, well, cool. Well, shout out to everybody having their little Friendsgiving, and being safe out there. I love y'all. This has been episode 139 of Future Bachelor. Next week, 140. It's going to be incredible.
That's how numbers work.
All right, guys. Well, stay beautiful. Stay safe.
Stay classy, fly. San Diego.
Yeah. And, this has been Future Bachelor. My name is Sai.
I'm Veronica.
And you know what it is. Deuces.
Bye.
Future Bachelor Podcast.